Welcome to AAPC Social Hour. Happy New Year, everybody. It is January 10th, 2024, and we have a new look. We're trying to um, make Social Hour even better. It's good to see everybody, and I have a friend of mine who will be joining me as co-host of Social Hour in this new format. Steve Kaiser.
What's going on, Alex? Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining us for Social Hour. So fun. Thanks, Alex.
Oh, you bet. Hey, Dave, there are a lot of people who, well, I think those who attend our conferences know who you are. They've seen you MC our events, and they may have seen you at virtual conferences. You're behind the scenes doing a lot of that. Tell us a little bit about your role at AAPC, what you do, and those sorts of things.
Yeah. Well, first of all, looking at the chat, Happy New Year, everyone. That's so cool. Feel free to, send us some comments in the chat. We'll be looking at that from time to time throughout the hour today. But thanks, Alex. I've been involved with conferences. I've actually been a part of the AAPC I'm coming up on 13 years. So I started out just doing webinars, just editing audio like for hours on end. And then they decided to take a chance and let me do some more things. So, so it's fun being involved in conference, and I love interacting with all of our members, all of our instructors, all of our staff. It's very rewarding. So I like our events. If you haven't been to one of our conferences, I highly recommend you attend one of them. We have them virtual, and then we also have these hybrid events where we live stream them on site, and they're so fun. So if you're unfamiliar with that, you can check that out. But I guess, I could give you a little bit of background about me personally. I was, raised in Southern California and then Northern Utah, went to college at Weber State, Utah State, and then just kind of lived around Northern Utah for a while until I got sick of the cold. I was like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing cold weather anymore. And so I moved to Arizona, and then I moved to Texas, and now I'm in Southern Utah, St. George, Utah, where it did snow just the other day, but it's quite a bit warmer than other places around the country. So anyway, enough about me. Happy to be here. Thanks.
And we have so many amazing members joining us today. Denise Bosch from Colorado. Now, she's our neighbors to Utah, where I'm at, and it is freezing cold. Snowstorms are hitting us where I'm at in the suburbs of Salt Lake. Dave, you're in southern Utah. You're just mentioning to me it's cold, but not snowy.
But not snowy. It did snow the other day, but I'm actually, I don't know, it's a funny side note. We got some time to kill, I think. So I decided to start trying to live in an RV since like October, and that's been fun, but it gets kind of chilly in some places, and I don't want my pipes to freeze. So I was in California, and then New Year's rolled around. I'm like, I'm just going to go put it in storage for a little while, be inside a normal house for a minute. So that's where I'm at now. But it's a fun adventure.
Awesome. Well, I see so many of our usual guests with us. Missy Kirshner. Hey, Missy, I shot you an email. Let me know if you have seen that. I need your help. Denise Bosch, that's super windy out in Colorado. Lindsay Motter, hello from Harrisburg. I see a lot of new faces on here. And Dave, one thing that we've done with our reboot of Social Hour is stream. You have it streaming on YouTube right now as well.
Yep. We are streaming on Facebook on our AAPC page, and then we're also streaming simultaneously on YouTube. Yep. So you can catch us both places.
There are comments coming in from YouTube as well. So I've got, we can see all of the comments. We'll do our best to give you all shout outs, but just know we appreciate you being on with us. Dave, our first guest is with us. It's a familiar face from AAPC, Renee Dustman. How do we get her in here?
All right, Renee, we're going to bring you on.
Okay.
There you are.
Hi, Renee.
Hi, Renee.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Snowy up in northern or upstate New York?
Yes. Um, Kind of the Finger Lakes area.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on our new AAPC Social Hour. We've got Dave Kaiser with us now. You know Dave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
um,
Together. Hi,
Yep.
Renee.
I call
What's it like temperature wise there?
um, actually, today it started out in the 40s. Um, we had a lot of snow a couple days ago, and it's all gone. And yesterday it was like 60-mile-an-hour winds, and
Cool.
all the snow melted, and a lot of people lost power. And now it's like in the 40s, but the temperature's supposed to go down as the day goes on.
40 starts feeling warm after you've been in the 20s,
It did.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, which is good because my dog just had knee surgery. She's a little one, so I had to pick her up and put her in the grass to go potty because she's not supposed to walk or go up and down stairs. So I'm so used to being able to just open the door and let her out, and now I have to actually physically go out and take her out. And so it was nice not to have to put on the coat and everything this morning.
Awesome. Well, for this month, we've had Renee and the publishing team on the first webcast of every month, and we want to continue with that because there's so much great information we want to share about Healthcare Business Monthly. This month, we do not have an author, a guest author with us, but Renee, our time is short today. But would you share a little bit about what's new for 2024 with the magazine?
Well, obviously, the most obvious thing was that we changed the name. So I'm pretty sure members noticed that, and we did kind of hint to it in the previous issue. We had put little hints and everything in it. So if they had been reading their magazine, it probably didn't come to too much of a surprise. And it definitely wasn't a last minute thing. The rebranding has been going on for a few years, and the magazine was just the final piece to the puzzle. After several consultations and bringing in other experts and getting their advice and talking to the National Advisory Board and making sure to represent members, and we finally went for it and went ahead and changed it to AAPC the magazine. And then along the way, we also kind of revamped the look a little bit and brought in more of the brand colors and try to make it a little bit more reader friendly, taking into consideration all the different devices that people use these days and video and everything like that. So that's been the biggest thing that we've been working on and finally got rolled out in January.
Those videos have been really fun, Renee. I think it's been a fun element just to kind of make our magazine kind of come to life a little bit more. So
yes,
I've enjoyed making them. I produced some of the Codify tip videos, and then we're going to start doing some just ebook tip videos. We did our first little draft of one of those. So
I love the video.
If you're not looking at the digital version of AAPC the magazine, you're missing out. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
A lot of extra features in there.
Yeah, we started doing it probably 2 years ago. Do you think, Dave? Has it been 2 years?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, at least a year.
Oh, yeah, and we do a little bit more all the time, and hopefully we'll get more and more type of things like that, and so that it's a lot more interactive. So, yeah, the majority of the membership do get the electronic version, and hopefully, it's nice because you can, take it anywhere with you and look on your phone and read it that way, because that's what most people do these days. And you don't see too many people carrying around a printed magazine anymore. So.
Although that would be cool, rolled up in the back pocket, AAPC. If we see somebody out on the streets like that, we're gonna take a picture and we'll feature you. I'm sure Bevan will want to do something too.
Absolutely.
Hey, I'm an old schooler who just likes to hold paper.
Yeah.
And carry things around. But if there are things I'm missing that could help me out and have a better experience, I want to check that out. And so I'll have to jump into the digital version.
Yeah. Like sometimes we write synopses of conference sessions, and the printed magazine gets just basics. The electronic magazine will include clips of the sessions, and a lot of times there's really interesting information in there that the print version isn't going to convey. So even if you get the print version, I highly recommend you check out the electronic version, because you might be missing out on some really good tips.
Yep. I love that comment by Kate.
Yeah, if you have a big enough purse, just throw your magazines in there. But if you don't, definitely the electronic version is so cool. So many added benefits to that electronic version. Just more stuff we can do in that we can't do in a printed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Renee, we have to let you go.
Oh, okay.
I know this is brief. I'm so sorry. Hey, next month we'll have a featured author. Kind of get back to that schedule and highlight some of the wonderful things you guys have in the magazine.
Yeah, that would be great. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks Renee, for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, we'll see you.
Okay, bye.
Hey, Dave. Before we go to our next guest, I just want our audience to know we've created more segments that we'll be sharing for each episode. So next is a new featured segment featuring test tips and exam study tips, things like that for our students that we think they will appreciate. And we've got Angie Clements who's going to be joining us. Angie.
Hello.
How are you?
I can't hear y'all.
Uh-oh. Angie.
Next to your mute button, click that little up arrow and check your speakers. Change it to like your, is there like a real tech speakers?
I did a test on my speaker and I can hear that, but I can't hear y'all.
Okay. Angie, I'm going to put something in the chat. She can't hear me say this, but I'm going to post something in the chat for her.
We'll do charades. Please hold, Angie. I wish I knew sign language.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, can you hear me?
I was playing.
You can hear us?
I can hear y'all.
All right.
Nothing like a little technical difficulty to get started.
Hey, you are our first test or study tips / exam tips guru. So Angie, Dave and I have known you for a long time. We've seen you at conferences and you've been very involved with AAPC. Would you share a little bit about yourself and what makes you an expert on preparing for AAPC exams?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for about 25 plus years. My name is Angela Clements. I am currently a...
Oh, we just lost her. Hang on, she's coming back. That was weird. Sorry, Angie.
That's dummy in all kinds of ways, huh?
We lost you for a second. I'm not sure what happened.
My name's Angie Clements. I currently work for MedCoder. I'm a physician coding consulting auditor and educator. I also am a VILT instructor for AAPC and serve on some of the AAPC committees. I previously served on the National Advisory Board as both a member and as an officer. So I've been around for a long time, even though I know I only look like I'm, 21. But one of the things is that I really enjoy networking with other members, and I enjoy helping those that are struggling with how do I study for, especially everyone that has text anxiety, because you can be a great coder, but you put that test in front of somebody and then just anxiety hits and it just makes you second guess everything. So definitely when you go in and answer your questions, don't second guess yourself. Get in there, answer your questions, be confident about it. Obviously, if you have one you want to go back and look at, but be confident with your answers. Most of the time, when students start second guessing themselves, that's when they start changing answers incorrectly. I know I went from introduction straight into talking.
That's all right. That's all right. Hey,
This is what the people need to hear. It's beautiful.
And if you're a student watching this webcast, let us know in the comments. Let us know what kind of struggles you might be having or what questions you might have. This would be a good time to ask a pro. Angie, what tips do you have for us today?
So can I share my screen? I have like a little highlighting type tip that I would love to share.
Share. And when you click that, it'll have a little pop-up that will allow you to select an application or a window.
All right. So one of the tips, am I sharing? Can y'all see it?
Not quite. There we go.
I see it. There we go. There we go.
So one of the tips I have is a lot of times when we see students getting an incorrect answer, it's because they're not reading the parenthetical notes. Like they'll focus on that guideline, but they won't read the parenthetical note. So on this example I have here, you can see that the code is for a hemorrhoidectomy external 2 or more columns or groups. So when you look for that single column of an external, their code does not exist. There is one for internal for 1 column, or there's your external with 2 or more columns. But if you just read a little further and look at that parenthetical note under it, you'll see you're directed to a code for the external single column, and it brings you to that unlisted code. So one thing we recommend is highlighting those types of parenthetical notes that can cause you to pick the wrong code. One thing you do want to watch is while highlighting is a great tool, you don't want to highlight everything because then nothing stands out and you still end up having to read everything anyway. So it's really important that you make sure your highlighting is meaningful, but that you are highlighting those types of things. And I have a second example here. So this is a common one too. When a patient has a fracture of the hip and has to have a prosthetic put in, a lot of times coders, students will go to those descriptions where it's the hemiarthroplasty that's typically being done for a patient who has osteoarthritis, a lot of wear and tear on their hip. But if you end up at that code and you read the parenthetical note, it tells you that if it's a prosthetic being placed that's following a fracture of the hip, there's a different code that you're going to code, and it directs you to that code. So those parenthetical notes are really important. I know sometimes we think, oh, parenthetical notes, just skip it, look at the description and keep moving. But the parenthetical notes really do give you some additional information that you should follow.
Awesome.
There are a few comments in here. Denise asks, I'm taking a course for the first time and would love to know how to speak with someone about several questions and queries. Denise, I would recommend that you jump into our Facebook group, and I'm going to drop a link to that in just below your comment. And then I see Kelly Reed reached out asking what class you're taking. So it sounds like you have several questions. If you take it to our Facebook group in that link, there are so many amazing coders in there, students, veteran coders who would be happy to help you out and help you figure out what questions you might have.
Yeah,
and here's another highlighting tip for you too. So not just with highlighting parenthetical notes in your guidelines, but when you have 2 codes that are very, very similar, highlight those differences. So on this one, this is a central line placement, and you'll notice that one is a tunnel catheter with a port and one is a pump. Port and pump are 2 4-letter words that start with a P. So if you're on the test and you're worried about time and you're moving quick, it's really easy to pick up the port instead of pump or pump instead of port. So highlight those little words in there to remind you, slow down, double check this word and make sure it's right. And then you'll see I used a different color to highlight that younger than 5 years of age and 5 years and older, because that's also a difference in these codes as well. And then, of course, when you get to the MRI, I didn't use my, I have those books that I was using on the other screen prints was for the AAPC version of the books. But it only allows you 2 different color highlights. And when I get to my radiology section, I have multiple colors. Because when you get there, you have CTs, CTA, MRI, MRA, a lot of differences that when you're reading fast, you're going to miss those. So use different color highlighters to trigger different things as well.
Awesome. Different color highlighters. And then that makes your
Yes.
book look cool too. So
Oh yeah, nice and pretty.
yeah, nice and pretty. Jennifer Hall asked, she asked any tips for the CPMA exam. Is that kind of a too vague of a question for you, Angie, or is that something that?
Well, so I currently don't teach a CPMA program. I'm only teaching the CPC, but I am CPMA certified. So one of the things with that is when it comes to the auditing part, it's just like coding because you still have to read the notes and you still have to find those codes. So having these types of highlights are still going to be beneficial as well. You're going to have some extra stuff thrown in there though with the different regulatory types of things. So I would make sure that you understand what fraud and abuse is. You're looking at the kickbacks and the different types of things that providers can get in trouble with there, because you definitely have to be able to answer things about HIPAA and anti-kickback laws and different things like that as well. So it's a little bit more cumbersome. We do have a CPMA program. I know Jackie does a lot of those classes, and she's just an amazing VILT instructor for the AAPC as well.
Yeah, if any of you know Jackie Capreas, she's awesome. She's on these social hours often too. So, but she's one of our virtual instructors that teaches CPMA, and I would give everyone her email address, but she'd probably kill me.
Yeah. And then I see like asking about the CRC. So that's a lot. That's heavily ICD-10 involved. You can take these tricks and use the same thing in your ICD-10 book. One of the things I have in my ICD-10 book is especially the history section. So many times we see when you go into history, you miss that personal indention versus family indention. I have those highlighted 2 different colors and just carries over each column is highlighted in a specific color. Especially with malignancies under that. I keep everything nice and color coordinated, and I think it's very beneficial.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
There's a comment about the CRC. Do you know much about the CRC, Angie?
So that's what I was just referring to. I know about risk coding. I am not risk certified, but I used to do some risk coding in my past life. So that's, like I said, heavily ICD-10, and that's where you're going to want to focus. Know those guidelines, know when you can pick up the diagnosis. Is it just something that's just thrown in there because they threw in a problem list, or is it actually impacting the visit? So just making sure you're following those guidelines and making sure you have that documentation to support those codes you're picking up.
Do you have time, Alex, for one more question here? Or
Let's do
comment
it.
from Kelly K.
Yeah.
Reed. She's asking, and using your professional expertise, Angie, the CPC or CPB, which one would you take first?
So I think it depends on where your focus is. If you're currently working in a billing job, you may want to get that billing CPB first. But if you are working in a coding job, you're going to want to get your CPC first. Or if you're not working at all, but you want to get into one of those positions, I would align which one I get first with what type of position I'm going to get. There are some out there that have trouble getting a CPC job without the years of experience. We are seeing a lot more companies hire fresh out of school certified coders, but I still do hear that there is that little gap where they're having trouble finding jobs. So a lot of times what we recommend is take that billing job, get your foot in the door and move into a coding position. So if that's the route that you feel you're going to take, it might be more beneficial to get the CPB first, get that job. And while you're in that job, you can work towards your CPC. So as you're getting your experience, you're ready to jump into that coding role as it opens up, whether it be in the same organization or you find one in another organization.
Awesome.
I love it.
Great advice. Yeah. And there's some advice from other people in the chat as well. So
Yes.
if you are on Facebook, Lori Jaramillo is giving some great advice there. We have somebody
Yeah,
that
I
just
hear a lot of
passed their
students too.
CRC.
They go watch all those YouTube videos on how to highlight their books. So there's a lot out there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, Angie, thanks so much for sharing all
My
of that.
pleasure.
It looks like that's a great insight. Parenthetical notes. Did I say that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You got
And
it.
is that a common struggle for newer students just trying to get their minds wrapped around how those work?
It's one I see a lot. So in the way the VILT program is instructed, when we're leading that program, we have them practice. We give them scenarios to code in class, and they submit their answers to us, and we will submit back, yes, you did it correctly, or hey, you missed this parenthetical note, which would have gotten you to the right code, or this tells you that this code is incorrect. So we see that a lot when they're doing those practice scenarios within class, that it is very common that those parenthetical notes get missed.
Awesome.
A comment on here, just want to show that one. Robin just passed her CRC, just barely on December 29th. Congratulations.
Yeah, and that's a big thing too. I hear a lot of people will say, oh, well, I had trick questions on my test. There are no trick questions. The AAPC is not trying to trick you. If you feel like it's a trick question, it's because you missed a guideline. You have to know those guidelines. I always recommend reading those guidelines, especially your ICD-10 ones. Read them like 3 times. You have them in your book on the test, so you don't have to have them memorized, but be familiar, because it slows you down when you have to go back and read it. So you might remember at least a couple of them that will help you through some of those answers. So yes, definitely know those guidelines inside and out.
Love it. Awesome. Thanks, Angie. And also thanks, Robin, and congratulations again. That's so cool.
Hey, Angie, will you be in Las Vegas for HealthCon 2024?
I'm not sure. As of right now, I'm not set to go, but we still have some time to make that decision.
Okay. All right. Well, we hope to see you there. If not, maybe we'll see you on another social hour.
Absolutely. I'll be
Thanks,
somewhere.
Angie.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, Dave, we're working through this. Look, there's a lot happening behind the scenes that we're trying to figure out, and we appreciate everybody's patience.
Yeah, new platform. So if you just barely joined us or didn't join us at the beginning, we are broadcasting to both the Facebook page, our AAPC Facebook page, and our AAPC YouTube page, and we're using a different platform than what Alex has used in the past, and so we're, there's going to be a little bumps in the road, a few little glitches and such, but we appreciate you guys being with us. Just super pumped to kick off the new year with the first social hour of the year. And we have more guests to come. Who do we have, Alex?
Well, first, Kaitlyn Brack. She's trying to get in right now, but I don't see her yet. I need to answer this question for Kelly Shu, though, our friend Kelly. She says, Alex, I can't help but notice that you still have the relocated plant behind you. So, it's over here. This plant is a new plant. I can't steal my wife's home decor for every webcast. So I just thought, let's just get my own fake plant. So this one is mine. And I don't know what kind of plant it's supposed to be, but it's real plastic.
It's real plastic. Nice. It looks like a small banana leaf plant.
There you
I'm
go.
sure somebody can correct me on the chat.
Hey, Dave, I have a question for you as we try to get Kaitlyn in. Have you ever thought about taking the CPC exam?
You know, I've thought probably maybe 5 minutes worth of thought processing around whether I wanted to take the CPC exam or not. But man, I remember back in the day sitting on all sorts of like online classes, listening, calling into, because I would host a lot of those early student classes with, I'm trying to remember a name right now and it's not coming to me. But she was so cool. And I basically was a student throughout the whole thing in the beginning. And I'm like, man, I should just get certified. Why not? You know? And at this point, I don't know. I'd probably have to do quite a bit of studying and prepping. And I don't know. I don't know if I would even want to like take it any further than just having the credential. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Well, we've talked about maybe having like one of those daily vlogs of, you know, you or I or someone studying and going through that process.
Ooh.
But I don't know if I'm willing to share my lack of intelligence or however you want to look at it, with the world like that.
So if we did it this way, I could document you studying for the CPC exam and taking that. I'll just follow you, you know, we'll just follow you around for that.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to do, Dave. I think Kaitlyn is getting closer. We're going to bring in Jane, I think, and to see what's going on in her world, and we'll get Kaitlyn in a few minutes.
All right.
Jane Baldwin.
Hello.
Hey there.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Hey, are you a big New Year's party person?
No.
Okay.
We're in bed by 10 typically. And yeah, no. Nope.
All right.
That was me.
I'll just say no. We do get together with friends, share a nice meal, you know, have some decorations, but other big party, nope.
Okay.
By 10:30. By 10:30.
Maybe when I was your
winding down.
age, you know, when I was like your age, Alex or Dave, I partied more, but yeah, no.
Okay. Well, I'm on the Dave train, and Dave and Jane train, just low key.
Yeah.
Maybe a bottle of Martinelli's, maybe some treats, but and now my kids, they're kind of out and about, but it's very low key around here. Jane, we've had you on Social Hour before. We have not had you on the new improved Social Hour. So
No.
tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at AAPC.
Sure, be happy to. You know, when I first logged in, you two were talking about bumps and glitches, and what a nice segue into what it is I do at AAPC. I've been with AAPC for 17 years now, so long time. I've seen a lot of changes. My current role, though, is assisting with the customer service department. I'm one of the team leads. There are 3 of us. And so part of being a team lead is monitoring calls, making sure that our agents are providing correct information to our members, you know, making sure calls are being answered in a timely manner, you know, so that's part of what I do. And when you talk bumps and glitches, I'll tell you what, even though I've been with AAPC for as many years as I have, time flies. I love to say it's like dog years around here. It's kind of like every 7 years is equal to 1. It goes by much faster than what I'd like it to go by.
Yeah. And what kind of things are you guys seeing these days with customer service? We have so many changes that have happened. We talked with Renee Dustman about the magazine being updated, and now you have the option of getting the print or the virtual exclusively in Save a Tree and get more content virtually. But also the exams that have changed big time with 2024. So what kind of things are you seeing? I'm sure you might be seeing questions about those.
Yeah, actually we do. And I love the idea, and I love talking about this new exam direction that we've moved into. I think, we're evolving just like other businesses and going to this electronic version. We warmed up to it the last few years with it being taken at home, or, on site, printed with local chapters. But I'll tell you, we do have a lot of great feedback. And while members, are saying, oh, so I no longer have that paper option available through local chapters, they may not care for that LRP where it's live remote in their own home or a specific location personal to them, but they are really enjoying the testing center option where it isn't their equipment. They don't have to worry about the webcam, any of the connectivity. So that seems to be really very popular. So that's been a good one. I think some of the feedback that we get, there's always there's the good and the bad. And so customer service, I always joke, you guys, that it's not, the customer compliment department. On occasion, we have one that comes through unsolicited, and we do appreciate that. But it's usually because there's a concern or an issue with something that someone is trying to access through their member area or whatever. And that's our job. What is it? Let's get it resolved. Well, as with anything, some of the issues that have come our way through the electronic version of the exam, I honestly want to say, in all fairness, and we do look at each case by case. That's our goal, not to just put anyone in some, a lump sum category. Our goal, my goal as a team lead, is to make sure everyone is individual and their experience is their own experience. So let's find out what that was. But having said that, what I find that these issues stem from, sometimes not reading or being aware of all the requirements. And, to sit for the exam, for example, if it says you need at least a 6-foot cable for your detached webcam, then you need a 6-foot cable or more. And so those are the kinds of things that do stop some individuals from being able to proceed. Also, people will say, I didn't know I had to utilize Zoom. Our instructions have been, our exam team is amazing. I just want to say that. And they have gone over and over these instructions that are sent to you with every detail that's needed to make that a great experience for you. So if I would, say anything, if you're getting ready to take that, first of all, kind of go away from those negative responses, because you want to make it your own, right? Don't we all want it to be our experience? I'm not going to always judge my experience by what someone else has done, because I do things differently. So I want to see for myself. And so it will start, everyone, by reading all of the instructions from when you go to Measure Learning, the instructions we send you at the time that you purchase the exam. Read those materials, because the first thing we do as we vet some of the concerns that come our way is we go through and we see the excerpts that are stating exactly what needed to be done. So I guess that's kind of a long-winded answer, Alex, but I think this electronic exam will make it smoother for a lot of people. And it's just, be clear. I'm not a coder. I heard you guys talking about taking the exam. The only thing that it took me was to open and look through that ICD-10 or that CPT, and it's like, no, thank you. I'll just stay in customer service. So I have been tempted once in a while. But you know what? You guys are coders. Coders have to pay attention, coders and billers. I don't want to be exclusive. You have to pay attention to detail. So that's really your first test, right? Did you pay attention to the detail of the instructions for you to take the exam? So that's kind of what I have to say about that.
That should be, yeah, the number one requirement is to read all the instructions.
Oh,
You'd be amazed.
absolutely.
Be amazed how
Absolutely.
simple these things really are.
Yeah.
But if you don't read, you don't
Yes.
know, and you miss some really important things. You just
Yes.
got to read.
Yes. And you know what? While I'm not a coder, I know that there are very detailed items in those scenarios, and coders need to be good readers. That's the first thing. So I think the number one test is, did you read all of the information to again help you have the best experience when you sit for your exam?
That's awesome. I love this. 3 non-coders telling coders how to be coders.
Dangerous.
Nobody take offense, all right? No one take
Oh,
offense.
I don't take offense, because I also tell them I also tell those prepping for the exam the best way to utilize the practice exam as they prepare. So I'll tell you what, you get a lot of feedback and you learn a lot of things from I'm just hearing it from other individuals that have taken the exam, and I'm sharing that. And so, yeah, I do laugh at that when I'm so confident when I provide that information. But I am confident because I do know those practice exams work, and there's a way to utilize to help you pass that exam.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, another thing I feel that we've done well. It's not always about, it's about how you utilize the tools you were provided. And so if you want to pass the exam, I know we talk about our distance learning, the practice exams, having current code books. Those are all tools, that are going to help you have a successful experience. So when I hear feedback from someone who's failed the exam for the umpteenth time, and they just know that it's rigged and they're being targeted, I will accept their concern. But the first thing I want to know is, did you utilize the tools that you've been provided? Or how did you study or prepare to go back into it? Because a lot of times, we all know, everyone listening knows, if we don't change something up, we always get the same results, right? So you got to change it up, do something different if you want a different outcome.
Jane, you brought up code books. Lori says she still has students asking if, and I've seen this in the group, can I use 2023 code books in 2024 exams? You can, and there are people that pass it occasionally.
Yes.
Or I don't even know what those stats are, but I just feel like we update the exams every year to the current code set.
Right.
So you're rolling the dice if you're using old code books.
Absolutely. And what did we say? The best tools, right? The best tool is to have current year. If you can't, there are things in place to help you if you need to obtain code books. I also recommend to individuals with the exam that they're taking, review, for example, and I always feel, again, you want the best tools possible. We always want the best if we want to have a good out. We don't take chances, right? But I like to think, and here's the non-coder, and so the CPC exam, right? A lot of those CPT codes with the physician codes. So I for darn sure am going to have a current code book for those code sets if I'm taking a CPC exam, right? So if you can't get them all, what's the most important one? Maybe you don't need all 3 for the exam you're taking, but what do you need? And we can help you with that. But again, the best tool will always be to have the current information. Old news is no news, right?
And there's a comment on YouTube, not everyone can afford to buy books every year when their employers don't provide the books. And that sounds like a professional, like in the workspace type of question. But we're talking specifically about students.
Yeah.
And we want everybody to be successful in their exam, and that is the path to that. using
Exactly.
the
It's
best
about
tools.
being successful. And so the first thing we'll promote are those correct tools to help you get there, right? Of course, we're going to promote that because we do have the stats behind that. And I have talked with someone who was coming back into coding and needed her certificate, had been coding for a long time, and she missed the exam by just a few points utilizing older code books. And so we all know we don't get to go in and pinpoint the exact question that was missed, but was it worth that risk of missing and having to take it a second time for the sake of not having updated books, right? And so she did laugh about it later. And so and I understand. I mean, books are expensive. Of course they are. But what I would say to that, and also what we see in customer service, is you got to plan. Just like you're planning for your CEUs that are going to be 2 years down the road, plan for code books that you may need. Maybe it's that slush fund of X amount of money, per month that you just realize that's the nature of the game. It's just like, my son-in-law, I've used this before too. He's a contractor. Every year when they go on sale at the big box store, he buys maybe 3 or 4 nice drills because he goes through them, right? But it's the tool of the trade. So what we have to think of, what are the tools for my trade and even getting into the trade, and just think of that thought process, right? Up front, this is an investment and this is what it's going to take, and plan for it. It's really, I don't want to oversimplify it, but I think it is about having a plan and work your plan.
All right. Jane, thanks so much for sharing that.
Yeah, great tips, Jane. That's awesome.
Oh,
And
well, thank
if you're
you.
just joining us, Jane is our customer service guru aficionado, all things amazing. So she's getting the feedback from both students and from likely instructors and all of that. So that's where Jane's coming from with all of it. And we do have, like you said beautifully, Jane, we do have the numbers and the data to back up what you're saying. So
yeah, and I'm confident with that. I realize I don't have much time left, but here's another tip I'm just going to share. And I've shared this before, and I'll share it every time because sometimes we need to hear it more than once, right? And if it's for that person, we all know, or this is my favorite thing, and I learned this back in the 80s. So yes, I'm dating myself, but I would never call the utility company on a Monday morning at 8 unless it was something extremely urgent, because I would know that I either wouldn't get in or the hold times would be long. Well, with AAPC, while we do our best to staff throughout the day, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we get a lot of calls right at 7 a.m. And it can just bombard us because we're staggering staff to help you until 5 p.m. And our shifts are only 8 hours and we're open beyond that. And then we have lunch times in there. So I would just say, if it isn't urgent, and that's all relative. So I understand that urgency is relative, but there are a lot of things. We'll work with you on that membership renewal. We'll work with you. We can do a lot of things, but maybe you don't call in right at 7 if you don't need to, right? Maybe you just wait until 8:30 or 9 when we have all of our staff, planned staff, on the phone. Our lunch hours are 11 to about 1:30 or so. We try to stagger those so we can keep everybody on phones and chats. But sometimes that's a time, you may want to avoid. You are welcome to call any time that works for you. Just understand that there are certain times where the hold times may be longer. So we want to help you, and we want to be comfortable and calm when we're doing that and provide you all the time you need. I think hopefully no one has ever felt rushed by an agent of ours to get off the phone. That you are able to utilize them and ask all the questions you need to be, to reach resolution at that time. But that's probably just a tip too, that we do have peak hours. And if you're not one who likes to wait, maybe you want to just call us a little later. And end of month, same thing.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. We appreciate it. We appreciate all of your feedbacks and tips, helping our members navigate the AAPC customer service landscape. I know we try to answer every question on social media, and there's so many different places. If people in the comments have brought up online chat, which is a great option. We're doing our best to handle all of those questions as they come in.
Yeah.
And
Hey,
Jane's the
and
best.
a shout out. I want to shout out to Tammy Hayden here. She just posted AAPC agents are awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to post that in our team chat because we love to hear and feel a little love. So thank you so much, Tammy. We
Okay.
appreciate that.
Hey, Jane, thanks so much for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. You know, it's always a fun thing. And I appreciate these two guys are a lot of fun to work with. And they, like I do, have your best interest. So we want to make this a great experience for you. And we want our members to be here for a long time. So
We'll get you on again. We'll get you on again another time, Jane.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
See you later.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.
Hey, Jane is amazing. She's not only an awesome coworker, but a great friend.
Yeah.
And just a good person to work with.
Quality human. If you ever get the chance to meet her, you'll be very grateful. She's awesome. All right.
Hey, we are almost out of time, but we have our final guest is finally, she's back up and running, and she's been waiting. Let's bring her in, Dave.
Kaitlyn.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Oh goodness, sounds like you all had a lot going on.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you share a little bit about yourself and what you do at AAPC? And I know you've been speaking in a lot of chapters and things like that. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a medical coding quality analyst at AAPC. I do work in the publishing department. Hi, Lori. How are you? So I'm kind of a catch-all. I do a little bit of everything. Most of the time you'll catch me on Codify. I listened to one of the questions you asked earlier if we stay up and do the whole New Year's thing, and it's like, it's usually my nap time because I log on at 1 o'clock New Year's Day to make sure Codify works correctly. Because, better for us to catch it before somebody else does. Hi, Katrina. How are you? I work with our data file clients as well. So I set as a SME on those and kind of help if any external clients needs data kind of put in there. I do speak at conferences and chapter events. I run a TikTok account. It's kind of been on hold the last little bit just because end of year stuff gets crazy. But I'm hoping to get some more content stuff out here soon. I am taking questions. If you have specific questions that you want help with answering guidelines on, feel free to send those to me, and I can try to cover those on that specific page. I do write for HBM. I do a little bit of everything. So,
Kaitlyn, tell us about some of the chapters you spoke at in 2023, and where will you be speaking in 2024?
Oh wow, I spoke at several. I think the last time I was on here, I actually was traveling up north to, I think maybe it was Mansfield, Ohio. I think Taylor King, I think that's her name. I think she was one of the officers that I was doing there, and we went over the ICD-10-CM updates. One of the biggest ones I've been having this year is the neurodivergent conversation, where we talk about what some of those clinical indications are. What are some ways we can kind of work around those and just make a more positive experience for both the employee and the employer, making just kind of helping that relationship a little bit. We actually cover some of the brain differences So if you were in DC, you got to hear some of those. So that one's probably been my favorite up to this point.
Nice. Where are you heading next?
I think it's a chapter in Florida. I think is my next one. Pam Vanderbilt's chapter. I'm almost positive. I think February 8th is my next one there. It's virtual because I'm in Indiana, and we're in the Midwest. We do get hit with snow, and it's untelling if I'll actually be able to get out and go anywhere for at least the first few months. So
yeah, that's so awesome though.
yeah.
And then coming up for HealthCon, you're going to be speaking in Vegas, right?
No, I wasn't selected this year for Vegas, but I think I know they're trying to get some newer speakers, some different topics, and I took a look at the lineup, and it looks really awesome. So I'm bummed that I'm not going to get to go, but yeah, I'm super excited because I'm gonna get access to the video recordings and I like going just to learn things and and network with everybody. I love getting to meet everybody. So I'm missing out.
Have such a big pool of instructors and teachers and different speakers that we've used in the past and different staff like you as well. And so yeah, sorry to if you were really hoping to speak at Vegas, sorry to bring up that point.
Ooh.
But
oh no,
every time you've spoken, you've done amazing. So I just assumed that you'd be speaking again. So, but we like to mix it up apparently. So
yeah, well, it's always nice to get fresher perspectives. I know Sarah Reagan, she's been working on a networking presentation of her own. So I would love to sit in just because that's something that her and I both talk about. So I would love to hear. I can't wait to hear hers and kind of see her approach on it. I think they have a general session for networking in Vegas. I've not heard that speaker speak before, but I know that whole process is super, especially for a general session. I know that process is heavily vetted. So,
and what a great session for a newbie, because we encourage networking so much. Like
right.
HealthCon is not just for the veteran coder. Some of my favorite attendees are those who are just hungry to kick down the door and find their place in the business of healthcare, and going around different tables and getting to know everybody. It's fun.
I have to say, one of my favorite members that I've met up to this point, his name was Thomas. He's from Germany. So, and he was, him and I, we still talk on LinkedIn from time to time. He was so kind and was just all in with the experience. And I absolutely enjoyed getting to meet him when we were in DC. Dave, I hate that you didn't get to meet him because you guys would have totally meshed. So
Thomas, do you know his last name off the top of your head?
No, but I can send it to you. Yeah,
send it to me. Cool.
Dave needs more German friends in his life.
Yeah, my last name's Kaiser. I'm totally German. Well, part German, but I need more German friends.
Well, Kaitlyn, thanks so much for being on with us. I know we kind of kept you in the waiting room for a bit. We're a little bit long on our webcast today, but thanks for helping us with the new experience of AAPC Social Hour. Fun to see you again. We haven't talked in a bit.
Yeah, we'll have to talk here soon. I have my networking lunch right now, so because I do those on the second Wednesday of every month. So we kind of hop on there and we just talk about. I think a couple of weeks ago we were talking about ways to help newer members gain additional experience and kind of revamping some of those programs. So we're hitting a lot of the harder the harder topics. So if you're interested in joining those and listening in and just sitting around, you can message me. I'll add you to the standing invite, and you can come when you can. And if you can't, there's always going to be another one. So
all right. Thanks, Kaitlyn. We'll see you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, Kaitlyn.
You too. Dave, we made it.
Yeah. First social hour of the year.
That's right.
And everybody, your comments, your interaction, all of that was so great and helpful and fun to see. We're going to try and feature more of those things on our social hour. So if you join us and you're interacting, we want to reward you for that by being a part of the broadcast, if you care.
And we used to say you could watch this on demand. You could watch a playback of this on the Facebook page, which you still can, but now it's automatic. You don't have to wait for me to load it up on YouTube. It's there right now.
It's there. Yep. As soon as we hit
So-
stop, it'll be there. So you can miss all the, or not miss, you can rewatch all the parts that you missed because it was riveting. I know.
And fast forward through the things you want to miss.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in 2 weeks.